This video will be split into two parts. The first will go over ways to help make leveling go by much quicker, and the second part will be what to do at what levels. First off, let's assume for the time being you're doing nothing but grinding. There's a handful of things that'll help with that you should know about. XP coupons, first and foremost, boost how much XP you get per enemy you fight, depending on what kind of multiplier it has. There's 2x ones, 3x usually from events. I believe you can still get 1.5x from the Monster Park boxes. And more recently, so far entirely through compensations and nothing else, 4x coupons. These all have durations of either 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or sometimes an hour, most commonly 30 minutes. There's also ways to pile more XP modifiers on top of them, like with these bonus XP coupons. These will either drop from bosses occasionally, or if you spend ungodly amounts of money on NX to achieve MVP status. Please don't do this, especially since the two don't stack with each other. It's one or the other. Just go fight bosses for bonus XP coupons. Sometimes people will invite others via Smegas to gather around their map so they can pop an atmospheric bonus XP coupon, commonly abbreviated to MVP if you're looking out for it, which gives it to everyone in the map the second they pop it. These are a lot less common now that the only atmospheric coupons that exist in the game, I'm pretty sure, are locked behind MVP Black or ranking high in Tower of Oz and such. But I figured it's still worth mentioning. You might see them sometimes still. Now for some smaller XP boosts. Through professions, specifically alchemy, and sometimes bosses and events, you can get these XP accumulation potions, which normally give 10% extra XP, or 20% extra XP for the concentrated variant. They cost a fair bit to craft, but I'd say if you can unlock Meister Alchemy, it's worth it to maximize how much XP you can get while grinding. Monster Park's shop also has these gold potions that give 10% extra XP, and also stack with these potions. In recent years, there's been one more source of XP through these VIP buff selectors that give 10% more XP and stack with the previous coupons. As far as consumables go for modifying your XP, these are the most common ones I can remember. This list is probably not conclusive, especially as time marches on and they change things around or add new XP coupons and things like that. But yeah, these are the big ones I can think of. I'll add this as a little footnote here. Sometimes, class skills and buffs give XP too. Holy Symbol for Bishop and its decent variant for all classes at 5th job give extra XP and drop rate, and Roll the Dice for all pirate classes gives XP if you roll a 6. Yeah, I know there are other minuscule ones like Night Lord's Showdown and such. This list isn't exhaustive. Now aside from coupons, you have a bunch more potential passive sources for XP. Spirit Pendant, which you usually can get through daily gift rewards, dojo, or events, and it straight up gives 30% XP while you have it equipped. At 6th job, Soul Janus passively gives 10% XP right off the bat, and at its max level of 30, gives 100% extra XP. But that's a lot of effort to max out. Legion's Grid and also specifically Zero's Legion block both give some XP obtained modifiers. Legion Artifacts XP stat also gives 12% at max level, as well as one extra target hit with multi-target skills at all its levels. Through hyperstats, you can get a maximum of 5% XP at level 10 prior to reaching level 200, or 10% at level 15 once you reach level 200. If you wanted to know more about how to set up hyperstats, check out my guide I recently just put out about that. Lots of people kept asking me how to set them up, so I figured I'd make a whole dedicated video explaining how. Anyways, Link skills are also a nice source of XP, specifically through Mercedes, which gives XP obtained, Aran, which gives extra combo orb XP, and Evan, which extends the duration of runes. The most important of these three is easily Evan's, followed by Mercedes, and lastly, Aran. Aran's Link skill tapers off real early on, but it is technically still more XP than without. As for links that are helpful while grinding, Lara for more normal enemy damage, and Ho-Young to deal more damage to enemies with full health. Both are always nice to have around. Now let's talk about maps themselves. I'm not gonna go over every class and all their summons or how you should lay out attacks throughout which specific maps, but I will go over these non-grinding map additions. Burning stages can appear in maps that haven't had players in them for set durations of time, and each stage gives 10% extra XP, up to a whopping 100% extra XP at stage 10. Combo orbs, as I mentioned not too long ago, appear every 50 enemies defeated. The higher your combo count, the more XP they give, which is representative of the color of the orb. The highest you can get are golden orbs at 2000 combos, so that's the maximum tier of XP you can get from them. Runes appear roughly about every 15 minutes or so, and will haunt you until you pop them. They even start to ruin your map XP and drop rate if you don't pop them for long enough. Thankfully, they are nothing but a good thing. Click one, do its arrow key combination, and now you're getting an effect helping you clear out the map, as well as extra XP for the next couple minutes, or few minutes if you have the Evan Link skill. Sometimes you'll occasionally see either Pollo, Fritto, or Especia pop up in the bottom right of your screen, and a treasure chest will appear nearby you. Keep smacking it, and out pops a gem that gives a bunch of XP. This is more of a recent addition, but the diamond chest gives way more XP. And the gems all have rarity types, going from rare, which is this blue one, epic, purple, unique, yellow, and legendary being green. So if you get a legendary diamond chest, that's a lot of XP even at higher levels. VIP boosters you can't get through normal gameplay, unless you make the Hexa boosters. Aside from those ones that do roughly the same thing, VIP boosters only come from event rewards in shops, compensation boxes, or inkwell gifts. They're a consumable that you can only use 10 times a day per character, and when you do so, loads more monsters spawn around the map that you can fight for more XP for like 100 seconds or 2 minutes or something. The regular rotation of Maple events usually also includes some form of, after a set amount of monsters defeated, you get a big bump of XP, and in recent times, set amount of XP has been big. Let's say you didn't want to grind for hours on end, like you were some kind of quote-unquote normal person that valued their time or something crazy like that. Okay, well here's some ways to get XP that aren't grinding. All of these give way more XP than just smacking enemies endlessly, but are limited either by day, by week, or by event period. Arcane River and Grandest dailies at 200 onward, and 260 onward respectively, both only require you to fight some mobs, turn in the quest, and upon completing them, give arcane or sacred symbols, plus a ton of XP. Each one starts at 500 kills, but each new zone you visit every 5 or so levels lowers that requirement down to 300, and eventually 100 at its absolute lowest. Epic dungeons at 260 onward, which right now are just High Mountain and Angler Company, both give a nice big chunk of XP, as well as some Solarda and fragments. You can only do these twice per account per week, and you can't do 2 of the same dungeon on 2 different characters, so choose wisely. Strawberry Farm tickets can come from events too, and you can use them up until 260, though the XP gained from them isn't too great around 240-ish onward. Prior to that though, it gives a lot of XP. It might get called other things in future events, but currently it's just some iteration of farming mobs in an enclosed space, without any XP modifiers or buffs. How many times you can do this varies per event. Like this current one only allows players to buy 5 tickets per week, effectively making it so you can only do it 5 times a week. Punch King is the umbrella term for this fighting mission where you smack a boss as hard as you can for like 2 minutes, and at the very end you get a load of XP. Some events give this weekly, but sometimes, like right now, we can only do it through these tomato coupons, or very irregularly when Nexon allows it. Monster Park 7 times a day, and Extreme once a week at 260 plus, both give not only a ton of XP every time you clear it, but also these little gift boxes with various goodies, like coins, and 2x XP coupons on Sunday. Why don't they give 3x yet? So that's a rough idea of how to make your time leveling up easier. Now this last part of the video will be a rough idea of what to do around every level range. Starting things off right from character creation, you now have an option for every class to skip the first 30 levels, including all job quests and cutscenes, storylines, etc. If you're looking to quickly level a character up as fast as possible, this is your time-saving friend. Otherwise, pretty much all classes nowadays have storyline or job quests that'll get you to level 30 as you do them, leading right into second job. And if you didn't for whatever reason, or decided to forego the job quests entirely for the time being, just go grind on golems in Hennesis and or Surgeonize in Alinea. From levels 30 to 60, your best source of XP will come from the 3 themed dungeons, Gold Beach, Rihanna Strait, or LNL Ferry Academy. Whichever you choose is entirely your preference. Sometimes classes have job quests tied to these themed dungeons, like Ho-Young with LNL. But regardless, whether or not you're on a burning character, you'll fly through these levels right on to 60, where you get third job. Now you're in grinding territory, right on up to 200. While map preferences varies between characters you play, I'll generally speak for zones to look for good enough maps for. Also, without getting into too much detail, as long as you can farm enemies in 1 or 2 hits, it's always worth going to grind in zones up to 20 levels above your current level. So for instance, if you're level 60, farming on monsters levels 70 to 80 will give you a slight reduction in damage dealt, as well as a slight reduction in XP, but a huge increase in overall XP compared to enemies closer to your actual level. Now for zones to grind for levels in. Sleepywood for levels 60 to about 70, Orbis and El Nath for levels 70 to 80, specifically the Pixies and Fang mobs respectively, Ariant and Megatia from levels 80 to 90, and then the early on foresty areas of Leifer from 90 to 110 or so. Dumping a few Star Force onto whatever gear you have equipped will start to help from level 100 onward too, specifically around the Kentaurus or Bloodheart mobs in Leifer, which only require 5 to 15 stars. That doesn't take much investment. If you have the required Star Force amounts to fight these enemies, they give so much more XP, especially this early on. Once 4th job has been unlocked, you can now also participate in whatever the main event going on of the moment happens to be, once you've reached level 101 for just about all events nowadays. I suggest you start these as soon as you can, both because this will speed leveling up significantly, and also for all the other stats or cosmetics they usually give. Grinding-wise, you can choose to either stick around Leifer for a bit, or move on to Ludibrium from 100 until about 110 or 115. Again, I recommend getting at least 25 to 30 Star Force for this next area, as it's amazing XP for very little investment. Clock Tower bottom floor. There's a lot of burning maps here too. This place is good until 125 to 130 or so. If you didn't want to invest in Star Force for whatever reason, then you could also go to Fantasy Theme World. From 125 to about 140, both Korean Folktown maps, and the quests to fight enemies in said maps, that appear in most maps too, are both good sources of XP. Alternatively, Mulung or Temple of Time from 120 to 140. At 140, you get hyper skills alongside hyperstats. Leveling hyperstats up as you level will help grinding go by faster. As you level, pour your points into damage, normal monster damage, XP, and flat attack, however you see fit. Maybe critical rate if you're close to 100% and just need a few more percent to reach that. Kerning Tower is good from 130 to 150, Omega Sector for 150 to 170, Future from 170 to 190, alternatively Critias around the 160 to 180 range, and then Twilight Parion, or Fox Valley, from 170 right on up to 200, where you reach 5th job. At level 200, once you complete 5th job, map variety throughout Arcane River gets a lot more straightforward. Now you just stick to grinding in each new zone you've unlocked. You unlock a new zone every 5 levels from here on out, all the way up to 290, with Talahart being the newest, highest level zone in the game currently. Additionally, each new main zone in the Arcane River gives you daily quests for arcane symbols and fat amounts of XP. So every zone on this map, except Reverse City, Yum Yum, and Celis. Doing all these daily quests will net you a ton of XP, and is gonna be a large source of XP you'll get from here on out up to 300. The XP you get from grinding starts to slow down a lot the further past 200 you get, but you could still grind it out if you wanted things to go faster. It's just gonna take a while. In Monster Park's case, those maps now go well into 6th job, with the newest one currently being Odium at 270. But yeah, dailies are going to be your main XP from here on out, especially if you didn't want to grind for hours on end. It's not like grinding is now completely pointless and bad to do. It just suddenly becomes very time consuming, and only worth the investment if you wanted to sweat out leveling your characters beyond comfortably doing daily quests. At 260, after you complete your 6th job advancement, it's more or less the same gist, but with a few new things. Monster Park Extreme is a weekly you can clear out with up to 4 people in a party for a load of XP. Epic Dungeons give not only XP, but also a bunch of soul and fragments. And, of course, each Grandest Zone also gets their own dailies that give symbols and XP. The XP from here on out is gonna only continue to get slower and slower with each new zone unlocked every 5 levels, but that curve will probably be vastly lessened in time. Hopefully something in this video helped you if you found yourself stuck in a certain level range and don't know an easier way to progress further. Or maybe even if you just wanted to make getting your level 3 Link skill characters easier. I know 200 to 210 is a slog for a lot of people. I also understand there's other XP sources in the game, the most obvious one being quests. But sadly, aside from the theme dungeon ones, most quests don't really give substantial XP for the amount of work you have to put into completing them. And it's better to just brute force grinding and ignoring said quests. Anyways, thank you for watching, and again, I hope this video helped you in any way. Comment if it did, or if you have suggestions for other videos I should do. Subscribe if you felt like it too. Until next time, that's all.